we're in a moment of crescendo, for sure. I feel it, from people. And the touchstones I use are, my neighbours who are just normal guys, like, farmers up and down the west. And I was speaking to an elderly woman her husband has been ill and she's been ill, and she was telling me about this. And I'm saying to her, and isn't it getting very common? People are becoming ill much more, it seems, than they used to. And she said, oh, yes. And I said, do you have any idea what it might be? And no, I don't know, it's a mystery, Deep down in the gut of the nation, there are serious misgivings. That's something approaching consciousness. We all have in our lives experience of being in denial about things, it's that kind of, I don't want to hear, don't want to hear, don't want to hear. And we've all done it in relation to certain things, because otherwise this worm has the capacity to get into your mind and work away on you. And so I apply that kind of reasoning to watching people who, for example, have had the vaccine and are listening to all this talk around them, which is escalating now. I know it around the countryside because I have sounding posts that tell me that it's changed radically in the last few months. People are now becoming more and more conscious and are actually starting to talk to one another about this. And, it's hard for some people. And, people are having conversations. A friend of mine told me recently that because he'd been in hospital himself, he'd got one thing before he realised. And he got really serious illness and he was in hospital twice, but he seems to be okay now. And a neighbour of his shouted him across the street, whom he didn't talk to very much, and says, how are you doing? And he says, I'm okay now. She says, and do you know, she says, what was wrong? Oh, I do, he says, yeah. What? That fucking vaccine. Oh, thanks be to Jesus, she said. I was waiting for somebody to say that. I've had it too, and I haven't been right since. Now these are the kind of, all these connections are happening, and that's going to escalate.